Me too.
Smithsonian was the guarded rocket.
Not
and
bad.
I thought that was pretty cool.
That very cool.
Can you guys hear me?
Hi, Ricky. Can you hear us?
We can't. We can't. Oh, there you go.
Can you hear us? I can hear you. I think.
We live?
Let's just make sure they can hear us before we go totally.
What a great idea.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Now be recorded.
You're live.
All right. Good evening, everyone. This is the April 9, 2025 meeting of the Town of Auburn Conservation Commission, which is being operated as a hybrid format under Chapter 22 of the Acts of 2022. The public can join the meeting remotely by telephone, dialing 408-650-3123, and then using access code 942-845-549. Or the public can join via computer at global.gotomeeting.com/join/942-845-549. So materials for tonight's meeting have been provided to the commissioners. They're also available on our website, and the public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda for tonight. My name is Michael Garland. I'm chairman of the Conservation Commission, and before we begin, let me confirm that members are here to participate. Megan Langley.
Here.
Michelle Colross.
Here.
Mark Sclammo. Here. Ricky Arizmi.
Here.
Tom Fallon.
Here.
Okay. I don't see anyone in the audience, but if anyone does show up and wants to speak on a matter tonight, needs to fill a sign-up sheet with Tom. Please also note this meeting is being recorded by Auburn Cable Television. So, without further ado, the first item on our agenda for this evening is 7 p.m. public hearing, VVL Realty LLC, request for determination of applicability to clear trees and light grading of land for future expansion at 5 Jerome Avenue. And I don't see that anyone is here to present that. And it's our policy that someone has to appear to make remarks or represent the project.
I would leave the door open, probably. Probably leave the door open.
Well, it would be helpful to leave there because it's a little stuffy in here.
Stuffy.
Everybody's alcoholic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on.
Please have a seat.
Voice is cookie thing not working anymore.
Yeah.
Sorry, we weren't trying to trick you.
So I just called the 7 o'clock hearing to order. That's for VVL Realty LLC. Is there someone here on behalf of VVL? Apparently there isn't. All right. We'll give them a few minutes. Our next public hearing is not for a couple of minutes. Why don't we do the meeting minutes for March 26th? I have no changes.
Me neither.
Any changes?
No. I don't.
Okay, in that case, is there a motion to accept the meeting minutes for March 26th of 2025?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Vote. Okay. And that brings us to our next public hearing, which is a 7:05 public hearing, Robert Cussin, a request for determination of applicability for the construction of an in-ground pool, concrete decking, and fencing around a pool area at 250 South Street. Is there a motion open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Vote. Would you be Mr. Cussin?
Yes.
Good evening, sir.
How you doing?
Good. Please have a seat. Make yourself comfortable. So tell us what you want to do.
Looking to put a in-ground saltwater pool in.
Okay. It looks like a pretty big one, too.
Yes, I think it was 32 by 16.
Oh, okay. Well, this shows a construction zone of 47 by 30.
Well, that was with the patio.
Okay.
I'm sorry, yeah,
All right.
sorry.
Okay, no worries. Okay, so, Mr. Cussin, we did get some comments from DEP. I don't know if you've seen them or not, we can certainly make them available to you.
Okay,
What we normally do, sir, is we always like to take a site walk.
okay,
So with your permission, we'd like, if you're available this weekend, you don't have to be there if you have other plans, we'll just check out your property and do
not
an
a problem.
inspection.
That's fine.
Okay, so in that case, do you assent to continuing the public hearing in this matter to April 23rd?
Okay,
All right, thank you, sir. What's a good, we will probably go there around 9 o'clock on Saturday, does that work for you?
yes, I have the baseball parade at 9:30ish. I gotta be there, but
Okay,
I'm a coach for 2 different teams, so.
good for you, busy man.
Yeah.
So, like I said, you don't have to be there.
Okay, all right, that's fine then. Okay,
right.
all right, perfect.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody, for your time.
Sure.
Actually, I'm sorry. May I ask a question before?
Yes.
You may?
Just because I think, well, so I'm on the, so there's the wetland, I'm looking at the hand-drawn
Yes.
map. What is the closest, what's the closest from what you think to be the wetland boundary that any construction activity would be
I
happening?
think that was on one of the drawings. I'm sorry, so from the existing wall where it is to the, where I believe the wetland would start, would be the 97 feet. And then I am coming out off the existing wall, a total of 30 feet.
Yeah, so you're within
You're
100
at
feet.
60
Yes,
feet.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, so we have jurisdiction.
Okay, I was just making sure, because there's not any scale here to know, like,
I understand.
if, how close it
How did
really
you,
is.
how did you draw the,
Upper right-hand corner.
well,
Okay.
yeah, how did you draw the map?
Just took a 100-yard tape measure that I own
Okay,
and measured from the corner of the wall that I existing.
okay, all right,
So,
very good. So like I said, we will be out there probably around 9 o'clock on Saturday, and if you can't make it, that's fine.
Okay, awesome, thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thank you, sir.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
Through the chair, we have a motion to
Oh,
continue.
yeah, I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
you haven't done that.
Can we have
I
a motion?
move here the request for determination for 250 South Street, just 7 PM on the 23rd of April.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, it's a vote.
Aye.
All right, it's a vote. Moving right along, the next matter on our agenda is 7:10 public hearing. Mohammed Ozedemir, I hope I pronounced Mr. Ozedemir's name correctly. A request for determination of applicability for property at 442 Leicester Street. Is there a motion open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? It's a vote.
Aye.
Okay.
live. Should I sign
Sure,
out?
please. Okay, are you Mr. Ozdemir?
Yeah, Ozdemir.
What's that?
Ozdemir. Yeah.
Ozdemir, okay. It's close.
Yeah.
So, tell us what you want to do.
Our back wall is failing,
Okay,
and we want to fix that back wall.
okay.
Uh,
And because you're near Chapin Brook, you file with us, is that right?
yes.
So when you say the back wall, is it part of your foundation that needs to be repaired?
Yeah, it's a addition of the house.
Okay.
House made it in 1950,
Oh, see?
and house and addition part made it I think 84. And when they made the addition part, they didn't make the like how it's supposed to be. I guess this is what contractors told me.
Okay,
And now it was failing, and we removed that. Now we're gonna put it back.
I understand. Okay. So I don't know if you heard us before, but we like to take a visitor and make a site inspection.
Uh-huh.
So if you're available this weekend, we would be able to come out to see your property then. Is that all right?
Yeah, sure.
And it will probably be sometime after 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
So is that agreeable to you?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. And do you agree to continue the public hearing in this matter to our next meeting, which is April 23rd?
Okay.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Then you're all set?
That'd be 7:05.
Yeah, 7:05.
I move to hear 442 Leicester Street at 7:05 on April 23rd.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 It's a vote. Thanks, Ricky. Appreciate it. All right, so we'll be out to see you this Saturday, and it shouldn't take that long to make the inspection.
All right. Thank
Okay.
you so much.
All right, thank you. Yeah, a couple minutes.
The enforcement order.
No, we're gonna leave that to the end.
Okay.
If you check your materials, we received a field report from Kevin Quinn for 3 Commerce Drive. You can, if you can review that, I think, on your own. I do note that if you look at the bottom, it says erosion and sediment controls. Apparently there is an issue with accumulation of sediment. We may want to go there and take a look on Saturday. Since it says sill fences, I'm looking at the back. Sill fences have presented release of sediment, however, are falling over in some areas, so we should check it out and maybe send a reminder letter for them to stabilize the sill fences. I have 7:15. The next matter on our agenda is Triton Storage LLC, request for determination of applicability for the construction of 2 self-storage buildings at 319 Washington Street. Is there a motion open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? It's a vote. Good evening, gentlemen.
Hello.
Can you identify yourselves, please?
Paul Adams,
Mr. Adams?
Quality Management.
Stephen Fusco, Kemba Horn.
Mr. Fusco. So we spoke the last time, right?
Yeah. Okay. I called it.
So, gentlemen, Mr. Fusco, I did have an opportunity to visit the site. Obviously, I think as you're well aware, we had to issue an enforcement order because when we had that rainstorm, which in all honesty was not a substantial rainstorm, there was sediment that ran off into the wetland. And so I'm aware of the location of this project. Obviously, you are moving enormous amounts of earth. And I have a few questions about that. But when that happened, it gave me pause about why we should issue a negative determination of applicability, because we don't want a situation where this might happen again, as you can understand. How much impervious area is going to be created by this project?
I don't know that off the top of my head. I need to look at the stormwater report, which I think we have. I mean, all of the impervious is going to be captured via our stormwater management into the subsurface infiltration.
Right. Now, who are you going to provide those reports to?
They were provided to the town. The town approved
No,
it.
I understand that, but moving forward, once the project is constructed, I assume you're going to be doing some sort of periodic maintenance, correct?
The owner, yeah, the stormwater management plan includes an O&M plan,
Right.
which will be given to the owner, which
Okay, but I guess my question is have arrangements been made to make that plan available to the town?
well, the town has it. And
I'm saying
so
going forward.
It can be, sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
all
absolutely.
right.
Yeah, whoever needs it. Would you guys like a copy of it, or
Uh,
just DPW and engineering?
Well, what I'm just suggesting is that, we don't want a situation where we have to worry about erosion going forward. Erosion and, any degradation of the wetlands.
Sure.
And those are my only comments. I mean, I think the only wetland that I think of any consequence is across the street. But again, just looking at the enormous amount of earth you're moving around, that just did give me some pause. So, any questions from the board?
So what measures, for the chair, what measures are being taken now to prevent further sediment washing out into the road and then in? Because it looked like there's both trucks tracking it out in the road, and then there may be some direct, runoff also.
So we've been going through and doing erosion controls since we've been there. Santander has a drain that dumps onto our site. We created in the first picture, as we created a channel, so it gets diverted to the double 18s that go underneath the easement road, and then that goes to one of our holding ponds, which then in turn gets pumped up behind the wetlands into a pretty much a leach field. So we have rock, we have blankets on top of it, and as we bring all the water up to it, it slowly goes into the wetlands nice and clean. On Old Common Road, we also have another holding pond, which captures quite a bit of water, which in turn, again, that gets pumped to the leach field, which is this one. All of our silt fences are in place where they're supposed to be. We recreated a berm on Route 20 in order to keep, at the time, it was winter, so we had a little bit of water going on there. Mass DOT gave us a call, we fixed it, took care of it right there on the spot. The issue with the trucks on the rainy day, we have a lot of dirt to get rid of.
No kidding.
The pig farmer up the road, he wants all of it.
Perfect.
So in order to move the site along, yes, we chose to do it on a rainy day, which hindsight is always 20/20. As soon as we have the cease and desist order, also in the pictures is my whole team cleaning the road.
Appreciate that.
We've been doing it all along. We had a complaint early on. Tom did come out and didn't see a problem. It was just a neighbor, noise.
Through the chair, when I went out there, all of the, there was a little bit of melt that was in the road. It was all cleaned up by hand. It was broom swept. It was spotless on that side. The other side was still normal, still had some ice and whatever. So as far as the road on the construction side, everything was very clean.
So now also with that rain event that we had with the trucks leaving the site, once we have permission to go back to the buffer, we're pulling back all of the anti-tracking pad. We're redoing it because now it's clogged. It's clogged with all the sediment that comes down from everywhere.
Right.
Because I have a huge hill and it all comes down here.
That's the way water works.
It's a wonderful thing. So also what we did is we put a wattle at the end of the wetlands. There's where the water comes down over the curb, there's asphalt that goes down into a gully, which has riprap in it. Yes, it's overgrown, but again, it does do its job. We added wattle onto it, so just in case anything does come down, whether it's me, someone on the road, it's gonna get captured again.
Okay.
We did take pictures that same day. The stream that goes underneath Old Common Road was crystal clear. Everything that was coming out from the opposite side of the wetlands, it was crystal clear.
Okay. How are you in terms of your construction schedule? I mean,
I have a lot of ledge to get rid of.
okay,
So
and that's
we
what you're
are,
working on
we,
now,
we-
right?
yes, we are. We found quite a bit of it.
Uh-huh.
So we are, we started, hoe ramming today, and that's gonna probably be, from what my contractor says, anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks.
And when do you think construction's gonna begin on the actual building? You have to pour the foundations,
Yes,
obviously.
we need foundation first, and our intent is to do phase 1, which is the largest building right next to Santander.
Right.
Until we get down to our base, especially below slab grade, and make sure that there's nothing in our way. Everything else comes in. We signed on UTS for special inspections. So going forward, everything that we're doing, we'll have documentation for it. And as far as timeline to get a slab, I'm really hoping to, within 2 months,
Okay,
because there's still a lot of work ahead of us over there.
so by June, you think,
Trust my fingers?
hopefully? Oh, certainly over the summer.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
So,
Yeah,
just can you summarize again what you're gonna do specifically to keep more sediment out of the road? So I did, I saw where you had the wattle down by the, entrance to the wetland to keep, stuff does get out in the road, that's an extra set of protection there, but just, you said something about the replacing the tracking mats and,
What side is this? There we go. So that's Old Common on this
Okay,
side.
so we have,
I mean, and I know that you had a lot of erosion control in place. I guess you had erosion control in place and sediment and everything still got out in the road, so like,
well, of course, because it gets attached to the tires.
right, so what would you do to keep that from happening?
We've already done it. We have any tracking pad from Old Common Road all the way up to here.
Okay, that's what I
And
was
then
asking.
that's where we have the mud. I mean,
Okay.
it's, I don't want to say a cursed site, but again, gravity and water is not our friend right now.
Okay.
And a majority of the problem was that you moved too much dirt in one day and it was raining.
Yes,
That's what
that's-
the majority of the problem
Again,
was that
hindsight
day.
2020, and we will definitely not be hauling on any rainy days.
That's kind of what I was getting at.
If you see this picture here through the chair, you can see like that's, a lot of that's coming right off from the tire aprons coming off and going up the hill. And that's definitely where it washed out. This was one of the ones when they started cleaning up
right,
from that day, so.
okay. I have no other questions. Any other questions? Is there any questions from the audience? Okay, there being none, is there a motion to close?
I moved to-
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Quick question in regards to, last meeting we had, Steven said that he was gonna submit new plans to the town in regards of updated silt fence. I went to site that following day and talked to Paul, the guy that was on site the day that they installed the silt fence. And he said that they installed it exactly as shown on the plans that were already submitted to the town. That being said, Stephen updating the plans to show a 3 feet outside the 100-foot buffer zone wouldn't matter.
Okay, so Ricky, is there a question?
I'm just making sure that Stephen's not actually submitting new drawings to the town, because then that would be inaccurate.
Okay,
I moved the LOD line, the silt fenced in.
all right. And the limited disturbance,
Yeah,
okay.
because it was just drafted, not
But
curved.
I think the gentleman's talking about this one right here, that's surrounding the wetlands.
Yes.
Again, we installed it per plan, and if Steve moved the limited disturbance, that's what it was moved.
Okay, all right.
Understood.
Okay, any other questions, Ricky?
That's it.
Okay. And I guess there are no questions from the audience. That being said, is there a motion to close?
I move to close.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? It's a vote. All right, gentlemen, thank you very
Get back
much.
to work?
You can get back to work.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is a 7:20 public hearing. Michael Marinus of Insight Engineering, notice of intent for property at 47 and 49 Rockland Road. Is there a motion to open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Ricky? Ricky?
Aye.
Okay, opposed to vote. Is there anyone here on behalf of Insight Engineering?
I haven't received anything from them as far as whether they were coming tonight or not. I was under the assumption they were, and if they weren't, they
Okay.
usually let us know at least a day ahead of time.
All right. Well, we'll hold that matter. Yeah, again, there have been instances in the past where they were on the agenda and they didn't show up either, so. In any event, next matter on public hearing, for public hearing is the enforcement order for property at 707 Oxford Street and the notice of intent. Is there a motion to open?
So moved.
Second? Is there a
Second.
second? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed to vote. Mr. Dubois, or is it Dubois? Okay. I understand. Oh,
Sure.
yeah.
Let's see, I signed on my Jesse.
So, are you aware of the comments that DEP has provided for this?
Yes,
Okay. So, are you going to respond to those?
I did send them a plan that shows the updated flood zone line.
Yeah?
I have 2 copies of that here as well.
Okay.
Do you want a copy or?
Well, I think leave it there for now.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I wanted to file, Jason.
Yeah.
the last time you were here, we went, we discussed and talked about whether or not the commission had granted a waiver to Mr. Johnson back in May of 2019. And we were able to locate the meeting minutes for May 8th of 2019. And I believe you attended that meeting. So when all was said and done, when we issued the order, our standard order of conditions with the special conditions, we did not grant a waiver. And in fact, and I think you know this, the plan that was recorded with the order of conditions in the upper left-hand corner says, waiver required from Conservation Commission to allow work within the 25-foot wetland buffer zone. And you've seen that.
Correct.
So apparently, and then Mr. Johnson sells the property to Ms. Manfron, and then I presume Mr. Goodman then went ahead and built the foundation. And part of that foundation is within the 25-foot no-build zone, and he did not acquire or get a waiver from us before he did that work. Is that fair?
Correct.
Okay. When did he build that foundation? Do you know?
It was 22, I believe.
When did she purchase the property?
The deed was transferred building permit was issued December of '22.
Okay.
He bought it, I think it was like sometime in '21, but I don't,
Okay.
May of '21 maybe?
All right, so the building permit's acquired in December of '22,
Yes,
and then he constructed the foundation, what,
a month or so after.
so sometime January, February of '23,
Uh,
ballpark?
yeah,
Okay,
I guess, yeah.
all right.
That's the building permit, tax card.
Yeah, the building permit was 12/1, and then there was building inspections on 12/6 of '22, and 12/15 of '23, so it was in January or so of '23.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Deed transfer was May 14th of '21.
Okay, so, you acknowledge that, well, I mean, you just acknowledged it. He went ahead and built the foundation, having noticed that a waiver was required, but did not get a waiver and built it anyway.
Well, I wouldn't say that he knew there was a waiver required. I
Well,
think
it's on the plan,
It's
right?
on the plan.
Right, but the plan was approved.
The plan, again, sir, and I'm not gonna engage in semantics with you. It says here, you know, if, the reason there's an issue is that some of the work, some of the foundation is within the 25-foot no-build zone. And the plan specifically says that a waiver was required from us to allow work within the 25-foot wetland buffer zone. He didn't do that. He didn't get a waiver from us. Perhaps he was under the impression that he could build this foundation outside the 25-foot no-build zone, but the reality is that he didn't, and you've acknowledged that. So what you're doing, I think, is I think, asking for a waiver sort of after the fact as part of a notice of intent. And so what we need to determine is whether or not we're gonna grant that notice of, grant an order of conditions for the project. And I think we understand, we've been to the property, we understand the unique characteristics of that property. So, you know, I think we have all the information we need to make a decision. Do you have any questions?
No.
Any questions?
Did you all go to the site recently?
Yes. Yeah, I
Yes.
took pictures. I went there probably beginning of March.
Okay.
Any comment from the audience? Okay,
Can I just ask a couple more questions?
sure.
So, did anybody go back and watch the meeting from?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And at the end of the meeting, before it was closed, you asked if this was the plan with this date and this revision date, if this was what was gonna be constructed?
Mhm.
And I said yes.
Mhm.
And then when Mr. Fallon was going through the special conditions and he went to section 14 that asked about the waiver, you had mentioned, no, he doesn't need a waiver anymore because he moved.
As long as the work was done outside the 25-foot no-build zone, sir.
You said he moved the house outside the 25 foot. so
That's
that-
what I was led to believe.
But I never mentioned that happened.
Sir, I'm not gonna do this.
Well,
I did
just-
this the last time.
I'm not trying, I'm just,
You know,
There
what
was
I'm
no-
doing, excuse me, what I'm doing here is I'm looking at the plan,
Mhm.
I'm looking at the work, and there's been an acknowledgement that work was done in the 25-foot no-build zone, and that no waiver was obtained so that the work could be done. Now, perhaps I'm gonna assume it's Mr. Goodman built the foundation, or if he hired a contractor, maybe there was an honest mistake about that work having been done. But if there was any possibility that something might go within the no-build zone, he should have come before us, and he didn't. Okay? So we understand that part of the foundation is in the 25-foot no-build zone, and in order for us to issue an order of conditions for the property, we have to determine if he's entitled to get a waiver. That's all,
okay.
okay?
Yeah.
If-
Yeah, because at the beginning of it, when we were talking, I had said, you know, how do we know if I give you this, if we
Mhm.
give you this, that, you know,
That this plan will be built.
well, outside of that 25 foot.
That was never asked.
Well, you're right. It was implied, you're exactly right. It was implied that you were going to do the right thing, that whoever bought this property was going to do the right thing
It was
and make
implied
sure.
that this plan would be built according to this plan.
Oh,
And I
okay.
understand that there was never a waiver
I
granted.
think, wasn't it said like somewhere on there that it was outside of the 25-foot buffer zone too?
It said, here it is.
Right there.
It's-
Well, no, that house was outside, that foundation was outside of the 25-foot.
It could never be. It would have needed a variance from the zoning board.
Well, then the waiver should have been applied for, and that's clearly indicated on the plan.
So if an order of conditions is granted, a plan is attached to the order of conditions, the plan is approved, there wasn't a waiver granted, I'm not saying that there was.
There was
But
not.
if the plan is approved and the builder gets the plan with an order of conditions, said this plan's approved, why would he think that he has to come back and say, can I build this house according to this plan?
Because if there was any belief it was gonna be built within the 25-foot
That
no-build
was
zone,
approved and
he
recorded.
needed a
All
waiver.
right, so where do we go from here?
We're gonna, if you have nothing else to submit,
I don't.
then we'll close the public hearing,
Okay.
okay? Any other questions? Is there a motion to close?
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, vote. All right. Thank you, sir. You'll be hearing from us.
Okay. Tom, I had that other plan too for West Street, so, okay, discuss, we do that after, or is that? This is one, and we couldn't go on the abutters property to do the flags.
Oh, yeah. Well, afterwards, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Folks, are you here for something
Yeah.
in
I
in
know what they
particular?
mean. Yeah. They're here for the meeting before.
Oh, are you
They're
gentlemen, from VBL? All right.
No, we're
And-
not from them, no. We're butters.
Okay, so you're here to object to it? So, just so you know, we called the matter, it was the first matter on our agenda for 7 PM, and no one from VBL appeared. I'm not sure why, they didn't notify us that they were not coming.
Isn't this the second time they've been no-show?
I don't know.
Oh,
if
this
it's
is
the
Rock, they're here for Rockland Road.
Yeah, they're for
47,
Oh,
49
I'm
Rockland
sorry,
Road.
I beg your pardon, so you're here for Rockland Road.
My mistake too, sorry.
Okay, that's all right. Yeah, there have been, I think, 2 or 3 occasions where they didn't show up. They didn't give us any notification, sir. So I can tell you, I think it's a matter of, it'll be public information that they have to file with Department of Environmental Protection. So apparently, although they filed the requisite fee, they'd never filed the notice of intent, which is something they would submit it to us. They also have to submit a copy to the DEP. And so there's no DEP file number. And all that means basically is that we couldn't act on this tonight if we wanted to, because there has to be a number for the project issued by the Department of Environmental Protection. So gentlemen, I can't account for the reason why they're not here. I'm sorry that, they've obviously inconvenienced you. I don't know if anything that we've discussed tonight was of any interest to you, but what we will do is we will notify them that they have to show up. If they want to be on our agenda, they have to appear here. Sir, go ahead. And what's your name?
I'm Alan Rafferty.
Mr. Rafferty, good evening.
I have 2 questions.
Sure.
Two technical questions. One, they haven't shown, you did schedule a meeting. Would it be improper for you to open the meeting, at least take input from us at this point?
It would be, sir.
Okay, it would be improper?
Yes, sir.
The second technical question is their appearance here contingent upon them being granted a special permit from the zoning board of appeals?
No, it's not. I think they're the ZBA has different jurisdiction than we do. We act independently. Suffice it to say, if they don't get a variance, they can get order of conditions from us, but if they can't build it, they can't build it. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it's not like the boards really talk to each other because they're different areas of jurisdiction.
Okay. So their meeting with you is not contingent upon them having a...
It's not.
Okay.
No,
Right.
it's not.
And through the chair,
Mhm.
so the ZBA did ratify at the last meeting the amended, I think it was an amended special permit for that.
Yes, I
Some
understand that,
language.
but they also have a open meeting violation complaint against them. And if the Attorney general rules that they were in violation, then the permit would be null and void. So that would be my question, that whether or not they needed the ZBA permit in order to proceed with you folks, because there's a chance that they're gonna be null and voided.
So to answer your question, I mean, again, we're independent bodies, so, I mean, this is the first I'm hearing of that. I mean, again, I don't really know what's going on between them and the ZBA. I mean, you know, if they show up on our agenda, I'd like them to show up and appear to make their case, and they've done this, I think, 2 or 3 times before, so frankly, it's annoying to us because we have other matters to attend to,
Yeah, yes, and your butters do too.
without a doubt.
Yeah, I spoke, through the chair, I spoke to Mr. Capuano this afternoon, and I hadn't heard back yet from Mr. Moran, from Mike from Insight, so I assumed they were gonna be here this evening, but I never heard anything, so.
Okay. Do you have any other questions? Okay. All right. So for other business, Tom,
Yes.
I think you invited Kathleen Healy to contact
Yes.
us. Oh, there she is.
She's right here.
Hi there.
Come on up.
Why don't you come on up, please?
Okay.
Hi
Thank you
there.
for your time.
You're welcome.
So, this is quite a dilemma I find myself in.
Okay.
Sold the house at 195 Rochdale Street last year. I can't remember if it was June. I think it was June. $5,000 was held back for a certificate of completion.
Or
So-
compliance. From
They
us.
call, I think the lawyer called it completion.
Well, he was wrong. It's a certificate of compliance from us.
Okay, all right.
I love it. I love calling lawyers wrong. Anyway, go ahead.
So I was like, oh, okay.
Right.
Let me figure this out. So I came and talked to Tom, who's been very helpful to me and very, very patient. And got the application, put it all in, and next thing I know, I need this as-built plan,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
So, talking back and forth with Tom, okay, let me go to the Registry of Deeds and see, was it filed with the Registry of Deeds?
It wouldn't
Registry
be.
of Deeds does
It
not
wouldn't be.
have
Do you
it.
know who did the original plan? It wasn't RH White, was it?
So Dave DeLawless
I know Dave.
is the person that I bought my house from.
Okay. Uh-huh.
So that Pat Benkowski and I bought this house from Dave,
Okay.
okay?
Well, it's his obligation to provide the as-built.
So that's finally what, Tom and I were like, okay, let me go talk to Dave, okay?
Uh-huh.
So first thing I did was I tried to call Dave and it was a weird number, I couldn't get no contact with him.
Okay.
So in January, I sent Dave a letter through regular postal service because I don't have any other contact information for him. And I asked him, could I please, I told him $5,000 held back, could I please get a, this as-built plan from you? And I can give you this letter if you guys want to take a look at that. I got no response whatsoever.
Okay.
March 15th, I sent another note to him. In the meantime, between the January and the March 15th one,
Okay.
I actually coincidentally ran into Dave.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
So I said, whoa, hey, Dave, did you get my letter, right? So he said, yeah, Kathy, I'm sorry. I got the letter. I just wasn't in front of my mind. I said, well, I'm going to be honest with you, $5,000 right now at this point in my life, it's in the front of my mind, okay? So he said, okay, I got to get an engineer, whatever, okay?
Right.
So never heard anything back from him. So and the proof of that, me running into him, is my email to my lawyer the day that I ran into him. I sent her an email saying, hey, I ran into Dave.
Was this your real estate lawyer?
Yes.
Okay. And was David DeLawless represented by an attorney?
No. So my lawyer from me selling the house. Okay.
Okay.
So we bought the house 20 some odd years ago.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
So, to be perfectly honest with you, I don't know if this paper ever existed because it doesn't seem to be here in the town hall anywhere.
What are we talking about?
And
We're talking
Dave,
about the order of
the
conditions?
as-built plan.
The as-built plan.
20
Of
years
asphalt.
ago.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
never, there's none, and there's no record of any, look in the paper files.
So if I understand this correctly, the order conditions required an as-built plan to be provided.
Right.
And it appears, it's pretty abundantly clear that no as-built plan has ever been done.
It doesn't seem that
And because
way.
that hasn't been done, you can't get a certificate of compliance.
Okay.
So, but you no longer own this home, is that right?
I do not.
Okay, well, that makes sense then. It makes sense that, because the problem is that that order of conditions would be considered to be a cloud on the title. And it may interfere with this person, the current owner's ability to sell the property in the future.
Well, I would assume too that it's not just gonna be this current owner, but my two neighbors who are on the same basic lot
Uh-huh.
that Dave built this on. I
Right.
assume, I mean, there's no reason for me to think
Right.
that he has an as-built plan for them if he didn't have one for us, because like our house was the first one built.
Right.
I mean, hindsight's 20/20. I would say that when you bought the house when?
2003, I believe, was the year we
So,
bought it.
I mean, and again, this is just an observation. Just like your buyer withheld $5,000, your attorney back in 2003 probably should have withheld money from the sale
Right.
to compel Mr. Delawas to then provide an as-built plan.
Okay.
And I'm assuming that was not done.
No.
Not to my knowledge, it was.
So, all right. I mean, there are instances where we will waive the requirement. I think obviously we would have to take a look at because I haven't been out to the property.
Yeah, because, I mean, I can tell you, I know that he put some big, some big boulders back there,
Uh-huh.
And planted stuff. There's plants behind our house, like I say, behind the boulders and stuff.
Okay.
And I know that people have been out from the commission since that time because of our two neighbors had tree work done.
Okay.
And so they had to have, someone come and say, okay, can we cut down this tree? Because it was, over the line supposedly where we're,
Sure.
not supposed to change anything. And at that point, there was no issues because, we haven't gone past that point. There's no reason to, I mean, it's.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we're going to be doing some sidewalks on Saturday. We can take a look at that, and then we can make a determination whether we think we still need an as-built plan.
Okay.
How's that sound?
That sounds very, very reasonable, and I appreciate that.
Okay.
Because, quite honestly, I'm like, I
All right.
don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
Very good. All right.
All right?
Yeah,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thank you so much for your
Appreciate it.
time.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay, and I have your phone number there, so once they do the site visit.
Awesome.
Everything.
All right, great.
Okay?
Thank you so much.
All right, we have some orders to issue. With respect to, well, actually, I take that back.
No, we don't. Yeah, I don't think we
Well,
do.
we close a public hearing for Triton Storage.
Yeah.
So we had, through the chair, we had an enforcement order that we need to, that needed to get voted to be removed, right? Or was
Oh,
it
yeah.
done?
Well, that's right. I mean, what happened is that when we had the storm event last week, and I will say this, I mean, once we got notice of it, they were out there very quickly and took care of it. Actually, it's probably one of the quickest responses I think I've ever seen. And for good reason, so. So is there a motion to remove the enforcement order for 319 Washington Street?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I will second that.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, it's a vote. With respect to their request for determination of applicability, is there a motion?
For,
319 Washington
Oh.
Street.
I mean, they're 100 feet outside of the buffer though, right?
They are.
I haven't been out there, so.
I guess my,
It's hard to miss.
my question
Oh, I go by it every week, actually.
is just, okay, so they're not doing any work in the buffer, but some of their activities result in materials going into
The one time, that's
the
right.
one time,
And-
well,
and we will-
multiple times at this point, but it's
once.
I thought there was another time that they had to sweep some stuff up.
Oh, that was, yeah, somebody called it a complaint.
But there was no infiltration of
And
wells.
no, it was just,
This was actual
they
road.
weren't happy that there was truck traffic going in on Old Common Road. It said that it looked like it was messy, like mud was going in, and when I went there, everything was cleaned up, and they cleaned it by hand.
I have to go with Megan on this one.
Like, I get it,
I-
they're doing what they can, but it just,
I think keeping them honest isn't a real bad idea either. Because
Well-
when we don't keep people honest, bad things happen.
You know, again, that's why we're discussing it. So,
Okay.
I mean, I just think it's a huge project. And, I mean, I think, I will say this, I mean, I looked at the application and the drawings, and I think it's been well developed. I mean, in terms of, you know, just everything.
Right.
But I think, again, I take your point that, you know, we are within our rights to issue a positive determination of applicability.
We can do positive and then just, again, make sure that we keep them honest.
Mhm.
Like, you know, a positive, make sure that they keep the silt fence up, that, you know, keep the,
Mhm.
you know, that they're not moving large amounts of dirt around in the middle of the rainstorms that are creating all of this silt that's going into the wetland. That we can get those stormwater reports from the zoning board, like, delivered to us to make sure that, you know, that those streams are being kept clean in the future, that, you know, if we do that, if we do the positive, we can get those things. If we do a negative, we aren't gonna get those things.
I think you're probably right. So, okay, you want to make a motion then?
Can
I have one quick question.
Sure.
If the board issues a positive, does that mean they have to file a full notice of intent?
Yeah.
Or it does, right?
It does.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
And
we're gonna
if
do.
they don't like it, they can appeal it.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I motion to do a positive determination of applicability on Triton Storage LLC,
319?
319 Washington Street.
Is there a second?
I second.
Is there any further discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, I said aye.
Okay, it's a vote. It's unanimous. All right, positive determination then. For Rockland Road, in fact, I'll draft a letter to them tomorrow. They have, by my count, they have not shown up for at least 3 meetings, maybe 4.
Agreed.
They put, you know, and I don't know the reason for it, maybe there's a legitimate reason for it, but not only is it frankly disrespectful,
Completely
but well, it is, okay. But it's rude to the people that show up. So I will prepare a letter, and I'll tell them that if they want consideration of their project, they need to show up and appear and present it, okay? With respect to the 707 Oxford Street, I actually would like some time to think about this. We have 21 days to issue a decision. Our next meeting is going to be in 2 weeks, and so I would defer taking action on both the enforcement order and also the notice of intent. Is there any,
I think that
does
that's a
anyone
good
feel
idea.
contrary
No.
to that?
So I just want to be clear about, so what we're asking from them. So are we asking for them,
They've already
They've already.
submitted everything.
okay, I didn't know if at this point, like, they have to do some sort of, like, an alternatives analysis, even though they've already committed.
We did get an alternatives analysis.
Oh,
It was in our packet, so we can review that.
oh, that was just submitted?
Yes.
Okay, I missed that.
So there are really 2 issues for 4 and 707. There's the enforcement order and also the notice of intent for the property. So if there is no disagreement, we will carry over the decision on 707 to our meeting on April 23rd. Is there any new business?
Did have one other thing. The other day, on the 7th, I heard from Tracy Capoletti from Mass DOT. I'll read you the letter. It says, Route 20 Herb Chambers driveway entrance eastbound. Good afternoon. I am reaching out regarding a drainage collapse in the vicinity of the sidewalk just prior to the eastbound Herb Chambers driveway. Our maintenance section has responded and has attempted to resolve the problem. There is also an issue with the drainage pipe crossing the driveway. Is it possible for our maintenance section to meet someone on site tomorrow to look at what they would like to move forward with? I can be reached. So I did talk to her and also talked to our town engineer, Emma Williamson. And so what they decided to do is they were gonna, rather than try to dig around, They were gonna put another culvert pipe like on top of what was already there, so it would be a minimal amount of disturbance, and they were gonna take some pictures of it, and they were gonna forward that to me and also to Emma.
What are
And
they
this
gonna do with the
was,
one that collapsed? They're just gonna leave it there?
from what she described, I guess it made more sense to kind of leave, because it was still functional, but it was smaller. So what they thought would be better would just be to put another one on top, so they wouldn't have to do as much disturbance. And if you know where Herb Chambers Toyota, they went in front of this board, I think in 2014, maybe 15,
Yeah.
when they expanded the site.
Yeah.
So it's right when you drive up into the car, right there, so it's on Route 20, which is
Okay.
under their purview. So she did say that when they did the work, they were gonna take some pictures,
Okay.
which was gonna be done today. So I didn't receive anything today, but I imagine I'll get something when I do, I'll forward them to the board.
All right. Okay. If there's nothing else, is there a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I second.
Second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, so vote. Thank you, everyone.